It wouldn't be easy to choose the most important town nowadays. 1,000 years ago, it wouldn't have been so difficult. Kaifeng, the capital of China during the Song Dynasty, was the most important town on earth. In those days, Kaifeng saw the meeting of two civilizations, the two most ancient ones of all, the Jews and the Chinese. The story of Kaifengart is the story of the encounter of these two civilizations, 1,000 years on, in our times, through art. The Song Dynasty was established by Emperor Cao Guangyin in the year 960. He and his heirs brought China to one of its highest points in history, economically, artistically, and intellectually. In the year 1000, Kaifeng boasted a population of 1 million people. The development of the lower Yangtze region led to the construction of advanced commercial networks and the rapid growth of towns. During the 12th century, cotton crops spread. Tea consumption increased both in China and around the world. Chinese ceramics utilized the most advanced technology known at that time. The introduction of the mariner's compass and improvements in shipbuilding facilitated steady growth in overseas trade with Asia and the Middle East. The Song Dynasty's major exports were fine handicrafts such as silken porcelain, agricultural products such as tea, and industrial products such as copper coins. Their iron and coal industries developed, and gunpowder was invented. And last, but not least, Kaifeng became a world center of art. During the Song Dynasty, a system of examination dominated the lives of local elites. At the height of this system, about 400,000 candidates competed furiously. This examination system created a national literati culture. In fact, the Song period produced more works of literature than all previous dynasties combined. The literacy level was higher than ever before, and there was a newfound great interest in literature and the arts. Many of the best examples of Chinese landscape painting were created. It was now that a new philosophy, Neo-Confucianism, came to dominate the empire. In these prosperous times, a group of Jews immigrated from Persia and settled in Kaifeng. The emperor welcomed them and gave them the 7 names they retain to this day. He permitted them to remain in Kaifeng, loyal to their own traditions. They built their synagogue in 1163. The Chinese Han people were consistently friendly to the Jews, who were variously known as the 8 clans with the 7 names, the sect that plucks out the sinews, the Muslims with the blue caps, and the Temple of Purity and Truth. There were never more than 5,000 Jews in China at any one time. Marco Polo mentions meeting some in Beijing. Several Jewish communities were established, but Kaifeng is the only one to remain from those ancient times. The synagogue was destroyed several times over. In 1461, it was wrecked by a flood. Worse still, a few years later, the Ming rulers prohibited travel from their domains, and this brought further isolation for Kaifeng, and especially for Kaifeng Jewry. In this context, the isolated Kaifeng Jewish community came to blend the artistic heritage of the Song dynasty with their own traditions. They were forgotten by the outside world. In the West, no one imagined that Jewish life still existed in China. That is, until the year 1605. This was when a Jew from Kaifeng, by the name of Ai Tian, traveled to Beijing to meet a group of Italians, and thus for the first time the outside world became aware of the existence of Chinese Jewry. After this, the Jews became targets of missionaries, yet they remained true to their ancient faith. They regularly read and learned the Torah, and became known to the Chinese as the sect that teaches the scriptures. The community dwindled and disappeared in the 19th century. In 1810, the last rabbi of Kaifeng died, and in 1850, the Torah scrolls were sold. The synagogue was demolished, and on its site a hospital was built. The site is on the street still called the Torah Teaching Southern Lane. The Song dynasty must have influenced the Chinese Jews. It is noteworthy that the Hebrew prophets and Confucius taught at the same historical period. A 1489 inscription depicts similarities between Judaism and Confucianism. This stele celebrates the reconstruction of the synagogue after a flood. Don't do to others what you don't want others to do to you. Rings a familiar bell. What is its source? The Analects of Confucius? Or the Talmud? Or both?
己所不欲，勿施于人.
The Talmud preaches an identical message. Dalech sane, lechaverech lo tavid. Among the multitude of song art forms, painting, with its diverse schools and styles, is often cited as its greatest achievement. During the Song dynasty, the Royal Painting Academy was established. Bird and flower themes were most popular with the royal family. Many song paintings on these themes became the standards by which later works were measured. Known for his use of empty space as a contrast, Xia Gui is regarded as one of the most skilled painters of the Song period. His painting, A Sailboat in the Rain, typifies the painting style prevalent in the Chinese Song dynasty. The Song period is best known, however, for landscape painting. Painters often favored a monumental style, creating awesome vistas. Such artists as Li Cheng, who lived in the 10th century, and Fan Quan, who lived in the early 11th century, exemplify this style, with paintings of massive rocky cliffs, punctuated by an occasional waterfall or a group of small figures. The brushwork in these paintings is often complex, with strokes repeated one over the other to create the illusion of texture. Also, at this time, the first Wenjianhua, or Literati painting, appeared. The art of calligraphy, Shu Fa, dates back to the early stages of history and is widely practiced throughout China to this day. It is one of the 4 basic skills and disciplines of the Chinese literati, regarded as the most abstract and sublime form of art in Chinese culture. Although it uses Chinese words as its vehicle of expression, one does not have to know Chinese to appreciate its beauty. Because in essence, calligraphy is an abstract art. While conforming to the defined structure of words, expression can be extremely creative. The artist Tu Meng of the Tang Dynasty, between the 7th and 10th centuries, developed 120 expressions to describe different styles of calligraphy and establish criteria for them. Chinese calligraphy is widely thought to reveal one's personality. During the imperial era, it was used as an important criterion for the selection of executives to the imperial court. Unlike other visual art techniques, all calligraphy strokes are permanent and incorrigible, demanding careful planning and confident execution. These same traits are prerequisite for an efficient executive. The descendants of Kaifeng Jewry are heirs to several worlds: art, calligraphy, and Judaism. These areas have interwoven to culminate in a new art form, Kaifengart. The year 2002 was a turning point for the descendants in Kaifeng. They started expressing their heritage through art, stimulated by the activities of the ITIAN program. The ITIAN program promotes understanding and friendship between Jews and Chinese. Within this framework, seminars have been given to the Kaifeng Jewish descendants. They celebrated Hanukkah together for the first time in centuries. Through their art, they are reviving expressions of a dynasty that came to an end in the 13th century, and renewing a community which disappeared in the mid-19th century. What is their inspiration? The Torah and Confucius. So today, these heirs of the Jews from Kaifeng are creating an art form which reflects their history, combining Judaism with Chinese folklore. Their art focuses on both matching maxims of Hebrew tradition with Chinese wisdom and the depiction of historical events, such as their arrival in Kaifeng, the inauguration of their synagogue, the trip of ITIAN to Beijing, their current Jewish self-rediscovery, and parallels between Jewish and Chinese history.
She's in Kaifeng now.
Is this a revival of the past, or is it the beginning of a new people? Time will tell. For now, Kaifeng rests in the slumber of history, dreaming about when it was the most important town on earth.